Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to, hopefully it's not going to be a huge long video, but I'm going to go through all of the palettes that I have yet to use in totality. So basically I've been doing a no pan left behind style since I started the beginning of the year, I think. I think I started sometime last year when I was doing my pan nose eyeshadows. I would roll in a focus palette and I'd want to use every single shade. But for my Shop My Stashes and any other sort of project pans where I've rolled in an eyeshadow palette to use, I've been wanting to use every single shade, no pan left behind style. And there are so many palettes left in my collection that I have yet to do that on. So this is a list sort of all of the palettes that I still want to dip my fingers in and use no pan left behind by the end of the year. And we've only got 4 more months left, so I just don't know if it's going to happen, but we're going to try to make it happen. So if that interests you, then let's go through all the palettes that I've yet to use. Some of these I haven't even touched this year. Thankfully, not all of them. There are a bunch in here where I have dipped into maybe once or twice, but I still have not used all of the shades. There might be 1 or 2 sort of pan spoilers, but I'm not going to shout them out. So if you don't notice it, then you don't notice it, and hopefully you don't. Depends when you watch this video and when I post it, but whenever. But you know, we'll just see. All right, so let's go straight in, shall we? So surprisingly, this one, I have not used every pan in this. I still need to use this palette in terms of a no pan left behind. If you've been watching my Zodiac Panner, you know that I hit 2 pans in this this year. And that's exciting, that's great, but I have yet to use all of these shades this year. So I really need to do that. You know, obviously you've got all the mattes in here. There's only 4 mattes, but you still have the mattes in here. You have these beautiful shimmers that I have been neglecting, sadly. So the Urban Decay Stone Vibes, sorry I didn't say. This one, I want to be able to say I've used every single shade in this palette this year. So that is the first one. Next up is this She Glam Virtuous Virgo. I did do a first impressions. This is the only time that I've ever used this palette. I think it's a beautiful palette, but I just haven't dipped into it yet. Sadly, I did not use every shade in that look. I used almost every shade, but this one right here, I have not used, which is called Artistic. Yeah. So I want to dip my hands into this more. I want to feel it a little bit more. I liked it. I like the grunginess. I like the greens, but I want to feel better about this palette. And I've had it for what, I don't know, 4 or 5 months now, and I only used it once. No good. Next up, we've got the original Urban Decay Naked palette. Now, I have been dipping my hands into this because I did hit pan on this shade called Naked because I was sort of doing a side hustle to my pan nose eyeshadows. If you want to know more about that, then you should go watch my pan nose eyeshadows videos. But yeah, I'm trying to hit pan on the highest usage shades in my spreadsheet that I still have yet to hit pan on, if that makes any sense. But anyway, I hit pan in this one, but I haven't used all of the shades this year. So this one I kind of need to do. I'm gonna go fast because this video is gonna be uber long if I do not. Next up is a Juvia's Place palette. This one is the Blushed Rose. I have yet to do a look with this. It's crazy. I need to work on this palette. I swatch it plenty of times. I know that this shade in particular is absolutely stunning. Every time I swatch it, I'm like, why am I not doing something with this palette? It is so beautiful, but I have yet to do it. So that one, I need to do it no pan left behind. I need to do a first impressions. I need to do something. I need to do a get ready with me. Tell me what you would like to see. All of these, by the way, would be up for grabs if you want me to do a 1 week 1 palette. I'm happy. I am doing a 1 week 1 palette currently with another palette that you've all voted for, and I'm thinking maybe I'll do the second palette that was second highest voted. I'm not sure, I haven't decided yet. But any of these that I talk about in this video, if you want me to do a 1 pan, 1 week, 1, you know, oh, what is it? 1 palette, 1 week. That is what it is. If you want me to do anything with any of these palettes, let me know. Next up is a new palette for me. Yes, I'm going to include new palettes. This is from Beauty Bay. It's the Techni Days. I've only dipped into this shade, so I definitely want to use this more. Obviously, it's very spring, summertime. We're going into fall, regardless if we want to or not. So summer is pretty much over in many places. Not over for me, but you know, I'm feeling like I'm already looking into fall stuff. But that's not going to stop me from wanting to use this palette, so I'm still going to use it. Or I'm going to try. I want to try. I want to use all of these palettes by the end of the year. Am I crazy? Am I going to be able to do it? Because I've looked at all the palettes that I have used this year. There's a decent amount. I would say maybe half and half, but I have less than half the year left, so I don't think I'm going to do it. California Love. Now this one technically, I'm not too worried about, because this is one of the first ones that I did a Pan Those Eyeshadows focus palette for, but that was back in, I think, October last year. So it's been a while since I've actually used this palette. I love this palette. This is the California Love from ColourPop. If I didn't say, I think I said. I love this palette. I would like to at least use it once, perhaps. I want to use my palette, so this one is neglected. Okay, next up is the Sweet Talk from ColourPop. I almost pulled this from my Shop My Stash, but I didn't. I pulled something else. I have never used all the shades in here. I have yet to touch all of the shades in this palette, so I still need to do that. I still need to understand if I like this palette. Obviously, this is an older palette that everybody loved, but then eventually decluttered because it was an older one. And I want to know why everyone loved it. So yeah, this one I need to work on. The Whatever palette. This one, I did dip into most of the shades. It's in my Pan Those Eyeshadows as well. There's no spoiler though. I have yet to use all of the shades. There's still a few shades I have not used in this palette. It looks a little bit of a mess because my son grabbed it. I kind of just dip into the one shade from my Pan Those Eyeshadows and I ignore the rest. Next up is the Flutter By from ColourPop. This is no particular order, by the way. So this one I did pull Shop My Stash, but I did not use all. It was before I was tracking all of like my usage and like which like shade did I use and how many times I used it. It was before I did a switch up for my Shop My Stash, where I do project 10 uses basically. And so I didn't use this many times. I think I only used it twice when I had it in my Shop My Stash for the month, and I didn't use every single shade, so this one I need to. Next up is a new palette for me, and this is the Revolution Hydra Turtle palette. It's so cute, this palette, and I really like it. I got it because I don't have these tones of blue in my collection. You would think, why are you getting a blue palette? Gabby, you really just don't wear very much blue. But like, you know, I'm pushing myself, I'm trying to, and I don't have these blues, like I said, so I wanted this. I like the tin as well, I think it's cute. But I have yet to use all of the shades. It is new though, so I'm not as fussed about it. I did definitely dip into a few purples because I did a purple look with it, but I need to use all of these shades and see where the duds are, see where the good ones are, if there are any. Next up, we've got an Essence palette. This is Out in the Wild. This is the green one. This one I dipped into this year, but I have not used every single shade this year. It is very monochromatic, but it's still beautiful. I actually really enjoy this palette and I want to use it. Next up is a Juvia's Place. This is the Bronze Rustic. So I talk about this a lot, but I have only been working on this shade here. I haven't used all of the other shades this year. I need to. This is a beautiful palette. What is wrong with me? So this one I need to do a No Pan Left Behind. Next up, we've got a Pixie. This is the Heart Defense Double Tap. I think that's the name. I don't know. This one I haven't used all of the shades this year, so I need to. I picked it up sometime last year. I think I used all the shades last year at some point. I feel like I have. Yeah, they look like they've all been used, but I haven't used them this year. I don't think I've even dipped into this palette this year. So this one I need to use this year. A newer palette for me is the Dangerous Love. This is the Batman palette from Revolution. My computer is going crazy because I've got all of these eyeshadow palettes sitting on top of it. Just stop your business. Stop it. Stop. Why is she playing? No. I have stuff on. Anyway, so back to this palette. This is from Makeup Revolution. I picked this up when I got the Turtle one. I've only dipped into one shade in here. It's a new palette for me, but still, I want to use all of the shades in this palette. I want to get to know this palette, just like all the other palettes in my collection. This is where I store all my depotted shades, and this, I have one that sort of doesn't fit. But I haven't gone through and used any of these shades since I've depotted them. There's also one here. I have used this one, but I haven't used any of these. So I kind of view this as a palette, and I really need to start dipping into this palette because there's a reason I kept these shades. And if I'm not even going to use them, why did I depot them in the first place? So this one I want to get some use out of. Then I've got two smaller palettes. I've got the Nubian by Juvia's Place. I've never even touched this one. This was free with gift with purchase when I got my first and only makeup haul from Juvia's Place. I've never used this. I need to try and use this. I need to see what it's like. I've got the Bella Pierre Brown Eyed Girl. This is nice. I like this palette, but I don't think I've used it this year. I've definitely used it last year, and I used all of the shades last year, and I did play around with it. Oh, look, you can see. I did play around with it, but it's not something that I dipped into this year, which is a shame because it's really nice. All right, then I've got two Primark palettes. I've got two of the neons. I've got the orange one and the green one. I depotted the pink one. I basically got rid of it apart from one shade. But this one I haven't dipped into this year. I was thinking about decluttering it, depotting it. It could still happen, or I could just use the palette. I have yet to do any of those. Same for this one. This is the green version. This one I like more than the orange one. Is a little bit more interesting. Quality isn't there, but I kind of kept it all intact. I could depot this, or I could keep it as is. Either way, I want to use these shades. Why should I keep them if I'm not going to use them? All right, we got more and we got more. Next up is the Main Squeeze from ColourPop. So this one I haven't touched at all in over a year. Definitely not this year. I don't remember. I think it was right at the beginning of last year that I, would have touched it, maybe up until March time, and then I never touched it again. So I need to pull this out, and I need to play around with it. Give it some love. This one I've had out. I did hit pan in the shade right here in my Zodiac Panna, but I haven't used all of the other shades. So yeah, kind of need to do that. Then I've got this Donna Beauty Sand Haze. It's supposed to be a dupe for Huda Beauty. Is it? I have no idea. I have never tried it. I've swatched it. It's very beautiful. It was very, very cheap. Did I need to buy it? No. Did I buy it? Yes. Do I want to play around with it? Yes. Am I going to? Yes. Next up, this one is technically I have used this one, and I used it recently. It's the Nabla Dreamy palette, but I haven't used every single shade. So, I need to use every single shade. I have opinions about this palette, which I will talk about in my 3-month ranking, because I do all the palettes that I've tried in the last 3 months and I rank them. And obviously I've tried this in the last 2 months, so that video will go live sometime in September. And yeah, I have some views about this, but I feel like I need to try it a little bit more before I can rank it. So that one I definitely need to use more. The Alva from Odin's Eye, kind of a similar story. I've only used this the once. Was it twice? One of those two, and I was very disappointed in it, but I have not used all of the shades. I have not dipped into these yellows over here, and I really want to. So I need to actually give this palette some love and attention and see if it can change my mind about it, because I was very disappointed in this palette. And then I've got a new palette here. This is the Nomad, Fête de Provence. And this one, I haven't used all of the shades, so I definitely want to use all of the shades. I did a first impressions, it was very beautiful, but I haven't dipped into all of the shimmers, and I want to. I love Nomad, so this one, I definitely want to do that. And then I've got my Pastel Roses, which I haven't used yet. I've got a few that I've used, but I have not used all of them, so I definitely want to dip into this and play around with it a little bit more and kind of treat it as its own palette. My Rose Quartz from Primark. This is probably one of my oldest palettes at this point, and I do have some pans in here. I haven't used this at all this year. I used it right to the end of December time, maybe the first week of the year, but technically I don't really count it, and I haven't used it at all since then. So I need to dip into this a little bit more. This is the last one. So last but not least is the Sample Beauty Equalizer Volume 2. This palette, oh my days. I have used this once, and I was so happy with it, so pleased about it. I didn't use it for a video. I should have, because I was so happy with the formula, with the quality, but I did not, and I have not pulled it for anything, and I have not pulled it for a shop my stash because it's very, very autumny for me. It's more autumny for winter. And when I got it, it was more like towards the end of spring, beginning of summer. So I just thought, nah, let me wait. But I dipped into, I kind of tested around the first 2 rows because they're very like spring-like, summery-like. But all of these are very dark, and yeah, I can't wait to use this for the winter. But the quality is so good on this, and this was so affordable. And I think I got it, when I got it, it was maybe 30% off. Since then, it's been like 50% off. It keeps going on sale, and I don't know why, because the quality is so good. It reminds me of Beauty Bay quality. So if you like Beauty Bay quality, I think you'll like this, unless I'm crazy and maybe I don't know, only some of the shades are good, because these shimmers are like Beauty Bay shimmers. And yeah, I like Beauty Bay, so, you know. So yeah, those are all of the palettes that I have been neglecting the whole year. All right, I'm back. My camera, my battery is running really low, and also my memory card filled up. So I don't know where it cut me off, but anyway, these are all the palettes that I've obviously neglected this year. I need to go. It's gonna turn off any moment. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, give it a like, and subscribe if you would like to subscribe. I hope that you do, and I will see you next time. Bye.